Welcome to Love Will Love, a place where emotions meet stories. Here, we explore love, mystery, and the moments that change our lives forever. Every episode is a new journey. Are you ready to feel it? Don't forget to subscribe, like, and join us for the next story of Love Reborn. It all began in the most ordinary place, a cramped office elevator. My dad stepped inside, thinking only about another long day at work, when my mom happened to step in too. They exchanged a polite smile, nothing unusual. But somewhere between the first floor and the 10th, my dad, normally shy, gathered courage he didn't know he had, and asked her out. She laughed, surprised, but said yes. That single moment, that tiny leap of faith, would change the course of both their lives forever. Their first date was at a steakhouse. What my mom didn't know was that my dad had been a vegetarian for 10 years. There he sat, nervously pushing lettuce around on his plate, while my mom ordered the biggest steak on the menu. The irony wasn't lost on either of them, and they laughed about it years later. But that date was more than awkward small talk and mismatched dinners. Tea was the start of something real. My mom was only 22 then, trapped in a painful relationship with a boyfriend who was both abusive and unfaithful. She confided in my dad during those early conversations. Without hesitation, he helped her pack her things and leave that toxic home behind. 2 weeks later, on April 1st, a day known for pranks and jokes, they walked into a courthouse and got married. Most people thought they were crazy. They barely knew each other. But for them, it wasn't about logic. It was about courage, hope, and a spark strong enough to leap into the unknown. Their wedding day was nothing like the movies. My mom's parents never even made it to the courthouse because their car broke down. But instead of sulking or postponing, my parents took to the streets of London in their wedding clothes. My mom in a vintage gown she had rented, with one sleeve noticeably larger than the other. They walked hand in hand through the city, laughing at the absurdity of it all, drawing stares and smiles from strangers. That night, they threw a party back at their house that lasted 2 days straight, a wild celebration filled with laughter, cheap wine, and music blasting until dawn. But love stories aren't only laughter and fairy tale beginnings. A year later, they faced tragedy no parent should endure. Their first daughter, Jay, died suddenly at just 18 months old from SIDS. The grief was crushing. Some couples break under that kind of weight. But somehow, my parents held on to each other tighter. They grieved together, cried together, and carried on together. They went on to have 2 more children, my brother and me. That loss never left them, but it became part of the foundation of their bond. Their life together became a patchwork of wild, unforgettable stories. My dad, far from ordinary, earned 8 black belts in martial arts. He once trained Israeli soldiers. He worked as a bodyguard when friends got tangled up with dangerous people. He was strong, fearless, and yet endlessly tender with my mom. There was the time they rented a house in the middle of a Christmas tree farm. At first, it felt magical, almost like living in a holiday card. But then the oddities began, swarms of flies appearing out of nowhere. The landlord breaking in unannounced, eerie noises that made it feel like a haunted movie set. My parents embraced it anyway, laughing about how they always seemed to attract chaos. My mom used to call them hippie days, when life was messy and unpredictable, but somehow beautiful. They also made one of the boldest decisions of their lives, moving to America with almost no money but an ocean of determination. They struggled in those early years, building a life from scratch. There were nights of counting pennies, of wondering if they had made a terrible mistake. But slowly, with hard work and relentless faith in each other, things began to change. They went from barely scraping by to affording an Audi A7 and putting me through university. My mom still laughs when she remembers those early struggles, saying, "We really had no idea what we were doing. But we had each other, and that was enough." Through it all, they never lost their sense of humor or their willingness to dive into life's madness. My dad would take her on spontaneous adventures, road trips with no destination, late night walks just to see the stars. They danced in their living room, argued over silly things like how to fold laundry, and always found their way back to laughter. My mom still says she wants to write a book about their life, and honestly, she should. The stories sound like fiction, but they are all real. This year, in April, they celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary. A quarter century of love, loss, laughter, and resilience. When I look at them now, I see more than just my parents. I see proof that love doesn't have to be perfect to be extraordinary. Their story is messy, heartbreaking, funny, wild, but above all, it's real. And that's what makes it beautiful. From a chance encounter in an elevator to 25 years of marriage, my parents have taught me that love is about showing up for each other, especially when the world falls apart. It's about celebrating the quirks, surviving the storms, and choosing each other again and again, no matter what. Their journey reminds me, and I hope reminds you too, that love can be found in the most unexpected places, and it can survive the hardest trials. Sometimes, the craziest leaps of faith lead to the most incredible stories. And sometimes, the people who step into your life unexpectedly are the ones who change it forever. If this story touched you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Love has many faces. Which one will we discover next?